Well, the World Health Organization has classified Kenya as a level 2 high-risk infection area for the Ebola virus disease.
Now, this as Health Cabinet Secretary James Macharia says the ministry has partnered with the national carrier Kenya Airways, the Kenya Airports Authority and the Kenya Medical Research Institute and the World Health Organization in tackling Ebola. Now, Macharia further says that 100 health officers who are trained on Ebola virus treatment have been deployed to entry points around the country to make sure that that virus does not get into Kenya. That's right. We'll be having that report a little later with Ian Wafula. As in that, get ready. Let's keep on with the Ebola matters. And the Ebola crisis continues to ravage West Africa. Now, one U.S. company is working to make it an experiential drug vaccine available to humans. Newlink Genetics has signed a $1 million contract with the U.S. Department in Defense. This comes after the World Health Organization authorized the use of the experimental drug in the fight against Ebola. Claire Powell reports that this experimental drug has proven 100% effective in animal tests.
Really an incredible opportunity to work on a scientific project that can have such a direct and immediate impact on human health.
Newlink Genetics and Ames has signed a contract with the U.S. Department of Defense to bring the already manufactured Ebola vaccine closer to human trials. The company says the newly developed vaccine has been 100% effective so far when tested on non-human primates.
We give this vaccine to monkeys. You can see there's a certain level of antibodies raised against Ebola.
That it's likely to be an effective one, or at least we believe so based on the non-human primate data.
Newlink Genetics licensed the Ebola vaccine from the original developer, the Public Health Agency of Canada, in 2009, and they have been slowly working on it since. But the recent outbreak has skyrocketed the demand for a usable vaccine.
We're every minute of every day and some nights and weekends, we've been working on this.
Newlink Genetics says they'll use their $1 million federal contract to rush dosage studies and manufacture clinical materials to make sure the vaccination will work quickly and effectively.
We can make 30 to 50 times as much per batch as we do now. We should fairly quickly be able to overcome any limitations on availability.
The Newlink Genetics staff says they feel confident that they can expedite the vaccine's trials to help this humanitarian crisis.
We are doing our part. Our job, we feel, is to make our science and technology available and to work with all the ethical and clinical manufacturing standards to make sure that the drug gets to where it's needed.
Well, as experts globally work around the clock to try and find a cure for the Ebola virus, here in Kenya, the World Health Organization has classified the country as a level 2 high-risk infection area for the Ebola virus. But the Cabinet Secretary for Health, James Macharia, says that his ministry has partnered with the national carrier Kenya Airways and the Kenya Airports Authority, together with the Kenya Medical Research Institute and WHO, to tackle the Ebola virus. And this is what he had to say this morning.
The ministry has constituted a multi-agency Ebola task force, which has been meeting for 3 months now to assess the situation at local, country, regional, and global levels and advise the ministry on response activities. This task force, that comprises public health experts and other stakeholders, will continue to meet regularly until Ebola outbreak is controlled. And that's why you find at our table over there, we find all the key stakeholders, from Kenya Airports to KQ, to KEMRI, to WHO, basically demonstrating that it is a multi-agency Ebola task force. Number 2, I issued a press statement on 27th March and on 8th July 2014, informing all health workers and the public about the outbreak in West Africa. And as you can see, this statement, the first statement we issued, was on 27th March, which was only 6 days after the outbreak had been reported in West Africa.
Well, we'll continue to see if there are any developments regarding that story, and you can follow them on our Twitter handle at KTN Kenya. To politics now, and the Core Kenya movement of the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy, or CORD if you like, has this morning launched the collection of signatures towards the referendum on devolution, land reform, inclusivity and electoral reforms. Now, the event, which is currently taking place at Tufungamano House, features Kenyans from diverse segments of society, including the church, the civil society, political organizations and parties, youth and women's organizations, among others. And we are now joined live from Tufungamano House by our senior political reporter, Sam Ogena. Now, Sam, I know the launch is currently taking place, but apart from CORD politicians, who else is present?
Well, it is the Core Kenya movement actually has brought in civil society groups, the church, as you said, but interestingly enough, he's seeing former presidential aspirants. There is NAC Kenya presidential aspirant Martha Karua is present. We've also seen the Kenya National Congress running Metroni Osumba also put to grace this occasion, and also the likes of Richard Leakey, the activist Richard Leakey has actually been present here. And CORD have laid out 5 issues to be drafted as a referendum bill, and those are devolution and increasing the amount of county locations to 45%, and this to be actually captured in the constitution. Land reforms, we say the ones to strengthen the National Lands Commission and also correct historical injustices as land matters are concerned. Issue number 3 is electoral reforms. They say IEBC cannot be trusted, and thereby there needs to be a new electoral body to conduct elections in the country. Issue number 4 is inclusivity and equality. CORD says that they want to institutionalize national outsourcing in the public service sector, saying that this sector there is skewed appointments to public offices and also appointments in various sectors in the country. And the last issue number 5, is actually security. They say the country requires to be secure. At the moment, everything's going, it's not right. And also, they've unveiled a roadmap of what they want to, of how they want the process achieved. And as such, they've premised their roadmap on Article 257 of the Constitution, and that is posting the referendum by popular initiative, at the same time using parliamentary initiative. And as such, they have a draft document that is a bill that they say they want to present to the second stage after the launch of collection of 1 million signatures. The second stage will be consultation to put to stakeholders, churches, civil society organizations, interest groups for consultation, and thereby after the consultation process, they move into the third phase, that is drafting the referendum bill. Remember, they are abandoning the referendum question, they are going for a bill, and after collection of the 1 million signatures, they're going to present this bill to the IEBC, and thereby IEBC will transmit the bill to counties. Remember, they need at least 24 counties to approve the bill before the bill is passed over to the National Assembly and the Senate. And here is where the catch is. If the Parliament does not approve the bill, then it means straight away it goes to the referendum by popular initiative.
Okay. Sam Ogena, allow me to cut you short just there and jump onto something you've said. This entire process, if they are successful, as you've said, will have to be overseen by the IEBC, which, as you've clearly mentioned, accord to CORD, they do not trust. How are they hoping to go around that?
You should remember that former Prime Minister Odinga said that they don't want IEBC to conduct the referendum as it were. They want a body from the UN or something to conduct the referendum exercise. So, CORD are actually on record saying that they don't want this process to be conducted by the electoral body, but as per the law, that it means IEBC is the body mandated by law to present the bill to the counties, because there's no any other body in law permitted to conduct such an exercise.
And Sam Ogena, one last question. We have seen we have seen governors also start their own push for a referendum. Are we seeing a multitude of governors at this particular convention?
I've only seen 3 governors, and that is Colonel Rasanga from Siaya, and I've seen Jack Rangoma from Kisumu, and also John Murutu from Taita Taveta, the Taita Taveta government. Only 3 governors are present here, and speaking on behalf of governors, Murutu actually said it really doesn't matter if at all there is a governor's push for a referendum, and also on the side, CORD is pushing for a referendum. But to be quite specific, when the senator actually addressed, that is Boni Halole, he said the committee of experts, that is the CORD's committee of experts, needs to sit down with the governors so that they can thrash out issues, because what he sees is there is similarities in the issues that governors are pushing for and what CORD is actually pushing for. So they need to sit down, thrash issues, and actually come up and move forward as one entity in the push for the referendum.
Well, thank you very much, Sam Ogina, our senior reporter, speaking to us live from Ufungamano House, where the Okoa Kenya movement, which is of CORD, is currently happening. Bonitunya.
Great. Away from that, President Uhuru Kenyatta last night jetted into the country from the United States, where he was attending the US-Africa summit hosted by US President Barack Obama. Deputy President William Ruto, several cabinet secretaries, representatives from both the Senate and the National Assembly, and security heads lined up at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to receive the president. Uhuru's visit focused on strengthening ties between America and Kenya in trade, capital investment, infrastructure, energy, and security. He also met a group of business people who have investment proposals at a forum convened by the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. The Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the United States Chamber of Commerce, and while addressing American investors from Texas, the president assured them that Kenya offers a good investment environment, asserting that security challenges are being addressed. Right, away from the president, Africans have long used technology developed abroad, but now Kenyans' own cash transfer network bypasses banks and is being adopted in Europe.
We're talking about the M-pesa mobile money transfer system, which also allows clients to send cash with their telephones and has transformed how business is done in East Africa. But now it's spreading to Romania. And here are the details.
Going cashless is easier in Nairobi than New York, thanks to Kenya's leading mobile money system, M-pesa. With M-pesa, M for mobile, and pesa is Swahili for money. All you need to pay your electricity bill to groceries, taxi fares and school fees is a phone. After paying money to an M-pesa agent who credits the cash to your phone, you can transfer money to a friend, pay bills, or withdraw your cash back out.
On a normal day, like here, personally, I get about 10 customers who pay via M-pesa, and that's just me. So if you think about all the businesses in Nairobi, considering there are about 5,000 outlets just in town itself of M-pesa, and these people make money every day because they don't shut down.
Launched in 2007 by Safaricom, almost half the country's $44 billion economy passes through the system. It has since been extended to Tanzania, Egypt, India, and Mozambique. Now, Vodafone is bringing M-pesa to Europe for the first time, hoping to win over an estimated 7 million Romanians. Michi Karstoiu, an engineer from Bucharest, has just activated his M-pesa account. Until now, he's been using internet home banking services to pay his bills. But once he heard about M-pesa, he came to sign up.
I save time for sure. Plus, I think the transaction fees are smaller. But most importantly, I save time. Everyone has a mobile phone, and it's very simple to send and receive money or make payments.
In part, M-pesa succeeded in Kenya by meeting the needs of the unbanked. Romania was chosen as the European launch point for the service because many here still rely primarily on cash. But moving beyond emerging markets means adapting to fresh challenges. For example, they'll have to face different regulatory environments, consumers who already have access to a wide range of financial services. If it succeeds here, though, Romania may be a first step towards launching elsewhere in Europe.
From East Africa to Eastern Europe, I mean, that's quite phenomenal, you know, when you think about it. And I think this is something that the rest of the world can look at to say that there are ideas that can emanate out of the developing world and take it to the developed world.
How Europe will embrace Kenya's pioneering export is still far from certain. But already, M-pesa has brought Swahili into the language of global finance.
M-pesa.
Yeah, that's what they call it, M-pesa. I'm sure the guys
you were talking about
wondering what is M-pesa.
M-pesa,
right.
But you were talking about an interesting report which shows that there's quite a bit of money exchanging
2
phones.
trillion is what has been transferred from January to now, using different mobile money transfers. People are paying bills, people are giving out money and whatnot. So I mean, this M-pesa has really changed our lives.
Well, we'll definitely wait to see how it picks up in Europe, as she said in that report. But back home, we're trying to reduce the burden of non-communicable diseases, and that includes mental illnesses. And it remains a prominent issue as the world looks ahead to the development of a set of sustainable development goals.
Now, this is a music, street performance and speeches by high-level officials marked Kenya's commemoration of International Youth Day 2014.
In song and dance, Kenya joined the rest of the world in marking the International Youth Day. But in the midst of the celebration, one 29-year-old Sitawa Wafula will never forget the day that changed her life forever.
At the age of 18, I got raped, and then the year before that, I developed epilepsy. And because of the rape-off deal and not having an avenue through which to talk about it, I developed bipolar.
Sitawa is not alone. Unknown to many people, Kenya's esteemed businessman Manu Chandaria also has a similar narrative.
I control my seizures because of my medication. If I don't take this medication every day, there are 5 pills. If I don't take every day, in a week's time, I'll be on the floor.
Mental health is never given the attention it deserves. 1 in every 4 people is at risk of being mentally ill, and it can happen to anyone regardless of age, status, and gender. UN data shows that 20% of young people worldwide experience mental conditions such as schizophrenia, clinical and manic depression, paranoia, and even bipolar disorder.
What is disturbing our youth? I think we all know. Biggest threat to this country is disillusioned and hopeless young people. And I think they're also the biggest opportunity.
They often experience stigma and discrimination.
We have laws like the Marriage Act, which, because of my mental health status, that can be ground for divorce. So, I mean, I'm 29, I want to get married, I want to have a family, but because of my mental health status, then I am chained by that. So
the gaps in treatment are even more alarming, with a shortage of psychiatrists in the country.
You know, when I went to Mathare a couple of years back, 3 years back probably, and I was very surprised that the oldest building in Mathare Hospital is 1911. Then the British government thought that while we are doing hospitals for the people, there are people who are mentally disturbed.
Though the main policymakers were absent at the event, the climax was the government's promise to address these issues.
What next to all of us is action. We have theorized, we have planned. It's time for us to act.
We train qualified staff in mental health so that they are able to really ensure that we arrest the issue of mental illness.
These are promises that young people like Sitawa can only hold on to until the day many like her will be embraced by the society and find the courage to live their lives. Dorcas Wangira, KTN.
Well, Somalis also joined the rest of the world in marking the International Youth Day, but this was in Mogadishu. It was a ceremony that was held at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and young Somalis entertained guests with dance, drama, and martial arts. This was the first celebration of International Youth Day in Somalia in the last 15 years.
Young Somalis struggle with conflict-related challenges as well as minimal opportunities for gainful employment and education. Despite these hurdles, many of the country's youth remained undaunted and in fact resolute in their determination to transform their future.
Today I'm campaigning for Somali youth to participate or start a new system that can pioneer that Somali government achieve its goals towards peace and progress.
Somalia's Prime Minister Abdiweli Sheikh Ahmed says his government is strongly invested in the country's youth, seeing them as a ticket out of Somalia's checkered history of divisive politics and lack of cohesion.
So let us stop crimes, drugs, violence, and let us start a new life. Let us go to the schools, let us go to the education.
Speaking on behalf of the United Nations, the Deputy Special Representative of the UN Secretary General, Philip Lazzarini, lauded young people across their country for their fortitude and resilience.
Despite all these challenges, Somali youth have shown a great sense of optimism when it comes to the future of the country. They want opportunities to go to school, and they want opportunities for employment. And what we also know is that they want to be heard and participate in politics and build the nation.
With young people making up at least 65% of the population in Somalia, investing in Somalia's youth is a critical part of planning the country's future. Catherine Omwando, KTN.
Welcome back. You're watching KTN Newsdesk. By now, you know, if you're seated on this side, you're having our afternoon business chat. Now, today we want to talk about empowering women in entrepreneurship. There is the African Women Entrepreneurship Program that is launching a strategic plan tomorrow. And joining me is Executive Director Zohra Baraka, who's here to tell me exactly how they intend to empower women. Karibu sana.
Asante sana, Boni.
Tunya.
Tunya
is an easier name.
Tunya.
Right. Madam,
I just wanted to correct something.
Right.
I'm not the executive director, but I'm the chairperson of AWEP Kenya.
My apologies. Great. Looking at what you do in the work that you're trying to do in empowering women in this field of entrepreneurship, not an easy field for women. In the past, there has been a lot of affirmative action. Is this another sort of affirmative action?
This initiative was started in 2010 by the then Secretary of State, Mrs. Hillary Clinton, to empower women in Africa.
Right.
And it follows the initiative, which is to promote exports of products to the U.S. under the AGOA initiative.
Right.
I think you know about
Yes.
what it is, because the other day our president went to attend the AGOA forum. Yeah.
So how exactly do you do this? Because it sounds like a very huge network of things. How do you ensure that that individual single that woman at an individual level gets to benefit from this?
Okay, now first and foremost, since the initiative is to empower exports to the US, we intend to send, to go to the grassroots, because we are not looking at only the Zohra Baraka who is exporting. By the way, I'm an exporter for the last 26 years, and I've exported to the chain stores, and it is through this initiative, it is through the business that I'm doing, that one woman was picked from every African country to go to the US to be mentored, so that when they come back to their countries, they start the AWEP chapters. And from Kenya in 2011, I was the person who was picked on. And when I came, I put my acts together, and in 2013, we launched AWEP at the US Embassy by His Excellency Ambassador Godek. And the idea is to help every woman to try and export. Not just to export, because as I export, I need people who make the baskets, people who make the soapstone and other products. So everybody has to be sensitized in terms of the quality of the products, the timely delivery, and they should also be taught financial literacy. So I realized that every part of Kenya has got its own unique raw materials. For example, the other day I learned that in Eastern Province, we have got the gum arabica, which is one of the ingredients in Coca-Cola and chewing gum, and yet we don't export it.
Right.
We have over 4,600 products which are supposed to be exported to the US. yet we have not made use of those products. I mean, the numbers.
Madam, obviously, there's a lot of effort in trying to improve exports, especially coming from women entrepreneurs to America.
Yeah.
But what specific challenges are being faced by women in enterprise, and what are you doing as AWEP to try and solve that?
Okay, the biggest challenge is the market. But having been in the industry for all these years, for the 26 years, I have managed to get a database of over 17,000 contacts of importers of handicrafts all over the world. In AWEP, I intend to share that information with the women, because I cannot, as Zohra Baraka, I cannot export to all those people. Then there is the market trends. The US and Europe, they have seasons. So with these seasons, we need to sensitize our people on which products. For example, if we are to sell the products for the summer, we have to go 3 months backwards so that we produce.
So there's obviously a lot of people having to understand the market that
yes, the market.
Right.
To understand the market.
Very quickly, a lot of women would complain about access to credit. They don't have the money to get this business off the ground.
Tunya, that is a dream, and I can say as I'm a victim, because there was a time I lost a big order because I could not get access to capital, and this is because the due diligence done by our banks is too long. For example, you're given an order by an institution like TJ Maxx, which is a chain store with over 1,500 stores, and you can't, and you're told to bring 20,000 pieces. You cannot do that on your own. You go to the bank, the due diligence takes a long time. You're told to bring security, and not every woman has a title deed. Secondly, the interest rates are just too huge. So we are working with some banks to try and sensitize them on the model of how it can
be. Of course, we can't exhaust this, and that's why we have the function tomorrow. But for a quick chance for a free ad for the women entrepreneurs who might be watching, when and what do they benefit tomorrow?
Okay, tomorrow we are launching the 3-year strategic plan at the Afrati. That's where our offices are. It's on Wayaki Way, next to CCK, opposite the Kenyatta School.
Who can come?
And we are asking women entrepreneurs to join us. And I keep saying it's not only the women, we also have our sons.
All right.
They can join.
Okay, great. Because of time and we cannot exhaust this, I'll leave this conversation there. But like you've heard, for all the women entrepreneurs out there, tomorrow is the official launch of the African Women Enterprise Program that tries and help women in enterprise, especially expand their capacity in exports in the vast American market. Edith?
Time for the sports now, and it's good news once more as Kenya's long wait for gold at the ongoing Africa Athletics Championships in Marrakesh, and that's in Morocco, came to an end after Helen Obiri and Jarius Birech put their Commonwealth Games losses behind them by running away with the African titles on day 3 of the Africa Championships.
After a disappointing 7th place finish in the 1500 meters race at the Commonwealth Games, Helen Obiri redeemed herself in Marrakesh, Morocco. She staged a fight that saw her bag Kenya's first gold at the event in a time of 4 minutes, 9.53 seconds. Dawit Biratu of Ethiopia and Morocco's Rahab Arafi followed in that order. The Kenyan 3000 meters steeplechase men's race replicated its Commonwealth Games clean sweep. Jarius Birech snatched gold from the newly crowned Commonwealth champion Jonathan Ndiku, who settled for silver, while world and Olympic champion Ezekiel Kemboi once again settled for bronze. Boniface Musheru shook off the Commonwealth Games sprinters' disappointments to grab a bronze medal in the 400 meters men's race that was won by Botswana's sensation Isaac Makwala. Nicholas Bett, on the other side, clocked 49.03 seconds to bag another bronze in the 400 meters hurdles. Newly crowned 800 meters Commonwealth champion Nigel Amos of Botswana edged out Ethiopia's Mohamed Aman to become African champion. Kenya's Ferguson Rotich and Evans Kipkorir were 4th and 5th respectively. The championships continue tonight. Kenya is being represented by the same athletes who did national duty in Glasgow. Lane Washira, KTN.
We'll definitely keep our eyes on Marrakesh and tell you if we have any more victories, as I'm sure we will. At least I hope we will. It's now time to wind up. I'm being told we're pressed for time. So did you know there is a fish? It's called a parrotfish. It's so beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. it has surpassed our evolutionary knowledge because it is able to change its gender multiple times within its lifetime. So I don't know, does it wake up one morning and it's like, I just want to be female? The next day it's like, I want to be Boni Tunya.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I think so too.
All right. Word of the day is M-pesa.
M-pesa. All right.
That's how we wrap up things here on KTN Newsdesk. My name is Boni Tunya.
You're so silly. My name is Edith Kimani. Good afternoon.